So how does a game series that has sold over 4 million copies almost have 20 years since its last release? Today on The Lost Games, we talk about Dino Crisis, yet another one of those classic Capcom games that fans still need revived.
You don't hunt them, they hunt you. Dino Crisis, from the makers of Resident Evil.
PlayStation.
Released back in 1999 for the original PlayStation and the Sega Dreamcast, Dino Crisis is an action-adventure survivor horror game series by Capcom created by Shinji Mikami. Mikami is a video game designer, director, and producer whose notable works include games like Resident Evil, Product Number 3, The Evil Within, and God Hand. Dino Crisis was actually developed by the same team who created the Resident Evil series. The story follows Regina, a special ops agent, and her team as they investigate a secluded island research facility overrun by dinosaurs. Regina must fight and make her way through the facility to discover its secrets and escape with her entire team. In the game, Regina can run, backpedal, push, climb, and shoot, pretty much all you do in Resident Evil, but with dinosaurs instead of zombies. The dinosaurs are designed to be intelligent and violent to keep you on your toes. You can move with your weapons drawn and use auto-targeting. The enemies can knock out the weapons out of your hand, causing you to have to go and retrieve it. Regina's inventory includes key items, medical supplies, weapons, and ammo. You can even mix certain items that can be stored in emergency boxes. There's also different endings based on the choice the player makes at the end of the game. And if you do die, you continue from the room you died in. However, dying 5 times causes you to continue from the last save point instead. Dino Crisis was a success, especially with the PlayStation version selling over 2 million copies. There were also 2 different versions of the game that were in development for the Game Boy Color but ended up being cancelled. The first Game Boy Color game was in development by British studio M4 Ltd, known for these 4 games. Reported by IGN, who had spoken to the developers, Dino Crisis for the Game Boy Color was a top-down adventure game in development in the year 2000 and handled by Virgin Interactive. Unseen64 stated that Capcom asked M4 Ltd to use the same Game Boy Color Dino Crisis engine to develop Resident Evil Gaiden. The second version of the game, Dino Crisis, was in development by Fluid Studios, whom also worked on just a few games like these. Fluid Studios' cut on this game would have been a scaled-down version of the original PlayStation Dino Crisis, keeping all the original maps, plot lines, and dinosaurs. Both games were cancelled and both studios have been shut down, so these games have definitely been lost. In comes Dino Crisis 2, released in the year 2000 for the original PlayStation by Capcom. This is where things get messy because Capcom decided to change the focus on the series from being a survival horror game to now being an action arcade shoot-'em-up style game. This is a big gamble as gamers don't like changes from the original, especially since it just causes major confusions if you already fall in love with the first style. But they did it anyway. The game featured more open areas and a greater variety of weapons and enemies with less puzzles and new species. As you kill dinosaurs and do counterattacks and avoid damage, you get to earn extinction points that you can use to get new weapons, health packs, ammunition, and upgrades. When the game is finished, you get to unlock a mode called Extra Crisis that has 2 game modes, Dino Coliseum and Dino Duel. Dino Coliseum is a survivor mode where the character fights off dinosaurs in turn. Dino Duel is a mode that allows the player to control a dinosaur and battle. This game also did good and had a lot of great reviews, also selling over 1 million copies. It was most of the fans' favorite game, so it's safe to say that the risk they took changing the game style paid off.
Gun Survivor 3 Dino Crisis Capcom.
Next up, we have Dino Stalker, released in 2002 for the PlayStation 2, developed by Capcom. Capcom had a gun survivor series for first-person shooter video games which were based on Resident Evil, with the exception of Dino Stalker. Dino Stalker is the third entry in Capcom's gun survivor series and is related to the Dino Crisis games. In the game, the player uses a variety of weapons including shotguns, machine guns, and bazookas. You can only carry one weapon at a time, and you can even use the GunCon light gun accessory, allowing players to have a more immersive experience. Next up, we have Dino Crisis Dungeon in Chaos, released only by Mobile Capcom in 2003 for the Docomo 505i phone. The game was released ahead of Dino Crisis 3 to get fans hyped for the upcoming game. Dungeon in Chaos is a 3D maze mobile game where you must kill dinosaurs to advance as you shut down the third energy reactor. Last but not least, we have Dino Crisis 3, the last game in the series, released in 2003 by Capcom, but only for the first Xbox. The PlayStation 2 version was cancelled mid-development because Capcom felt that Xbox was better at rendering graphics. Dino Crisis 3 takes place on a space station set in the year 2548, and like before, you are tasked in fighting dinosaurs and reptiles, but the twist is that these are not real dinosaurs but instead mutations created from DNA extracted from dinosaur species. The space station set was decided due to Capcom wanting to move away from the city environment due to the September 11 incident. The main player is Patrick, and you also get to play a small section as Sonia, who are members of the Special Operations and Reconnaissance sent to investigate a ship near Jupiter. You get to use only 2 guns with 6 ammo types and can use small machines called wasps to help against your enemies. Dino Crisis 3 was not well received, and in comparison to the other games received a lot of criticism for the camera system, and it was named the worst camera ever by IGN, stating that it was a missed opportunity to advance the series, and game trailers placed it at number 4 on the top 10 worst sequels of all time. So where is the series today? Well, since 2014, there were rumors that Capcom was working on the development for Dino Crisis 4, but they were not true. At that time, the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, stated that they were definitely not doing this game. Shinji Mikami has also confirmed that he has many ideas for a new game in the series. Even the producer of Monster Hunter Online showed interest in wanting to work with Capcom on a revival for Dino Crisis using the Monster Hunter strategy. That would have been very interesting. But lastly, the official Capcom development Twitter account responded to a fan about Dino Crisis 4, to which they responded, "If a lot of people wish." Well, that's it for today's episode of The Lost Games, but please let us know what you think and if you wish for this series to be revived. What other series do you miss, and which one of these games were your favorite? Please let us know what you think in the comment box, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this on GameCircleTv. Dino Crisis may or may not be lost just like the rest of the lost games, but that does not mean that they are extinct. We can work together to bring these games back and keep gaming, because gamers never die, they just respawn.